Have you heard of the new addition to the Go for Donnie podcast? I haven't either, but it's called Switch to Channel 2. That is where Donnie will get to ask his guests some questions, so you, the listener, get to know them better. And remember, hashtag HTFU.
Welcome to Go for Donnie, switch to channel 2. As you guys know on set, whenever we had chatter, we'd always switch to channel 2 so we can get our chatter out of the way and we'd switch back to our channel. So this is all about that. So we have 10 random questions for you so our listeners can get a chance to hear some more about you too. So let's start with Rupert.
Some people took it to channel 11, actually.
What? Channel 11. I think some people had a code. If you said, go to 11, that meant 6.
Yeah.
Go to 13, that meant 8 somehow.
Do you remember when we used to say
Didn't make any difference to me. No one could understand me anyway.
Yeah.
No, that's true. But do you remember we used to say to Puma, go to channel 18, and then you'll hear him come back. There's no channel 18.
Actually, he was the one that always tell me to go to channel 2 and bust my balls about something. So, the Puma.
Oh yeah, Rupert. Rupert. This is what Rupert sounds on the helicopter. You might get the red jacket. Red jacket. And then it was like this. He would come in the helicopter. He'd go, Dan. And I'd be in the middle of the desert going,
yeah.
What did he say?
Clear.
But it was worse because he was talking to us on his walkie as well, so it was really faint, plus in the helicopter. Plus, he was talking a little fast. So, yeah, we had to translate. Somehow I could translate sometimes. Until I thought he would say action, I'm like, screw it, let's just go.
Yeah.
Well, okay. First question for both of you, Rupert. You can start. Let's find out how you got started in this industry.
I originally worked as a journalist on a little local newspaper in England, but kind of realized that print media was probably not the way forward. So got a job as a researcher, which is kind of like, I guess in the US, it's like a junior AP type of thing. At a place called London Weekend Television, which was a kind of sort of a network that only broadcast on the weekends in London. But it was a great place to work, a lot of camaraderie, had its own bar, and kind of learned my trade there, a lot of true crime stuff and that sort of thing. But very good bosses who knew what they were doing, and learned my way from there, and then kind of got into sort of the visual side and directing and camera work and stuff after that.
Very cool. So Dan, why don't you let us know how you got started in the industry, please?
Well, I was in Spain, and my parents kicked me out, and I landed in a college in England, in Chester, near Manchester, where Granada Television is. My auntie used to do the BBC Morning News, Northwest, and she said, we're looking for someone who knows about cars and motorbikes and can film. And I just finished my course, and she said, I've got just the guy. So I joined Men and Motors.
What's that?
Which is really funny to me and Rupert, but to everyone else.
Yeah, to our American audience, to the rest of the audience, what is that?
It means nothing.
How do I explain that? So
it was a pretty low budget kind of cable.
Oh,
yeah,
sort of thing, wasn't it?
It was a very low budget. It was called Men and Motors. So the men's side showed tits and bums and soft kind of porny kind of things. No vaginas, no penetration, no nothing. And then the motors side was a proper like motors magazine for cars and bikes and stuff. So the two were it was a men channel.
Oh,
if you can believe that now.
Yeah, clearly.
This is pre 2000. So this is in 1995. So things
So
were
if you
different.
imagine like a kind of an oily mechanics workshop with kind of pictures of women up back in the sort of 70s
Yeah.
and 80s, they were the
Oh,
target
man.
audience.
Exactly.
Got it.
So you look at his locker, and he's got like porn and stuff, and then you turn around
It's soft.
and you just see cars.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
it
was
sounds
it.
like a lot
Kind
of dudes'
summed up.
garages. Yeah. Okay. I've been in some
Yeah,
garages like
exactly. Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And then that was it. I was there, and then I went freelance, and then I got an opportunity to get onto Top Gear UK, and I started that in around 2006 or 7. I can't remember now, but so yeah, I got a chance in there, and the rest is history.
Got it. That's pretty cool. All right. Any fun stories about other talents other than our hosts from Top Gear that you can share that you may have come across?
That I can repeat here. Ooh.
That you can repeat here?
I have to call you about that. I have to do another day of podcast for that. No, only because I can't remember.
I mean, because the listeners want to know more about us in the industry. Because a lot of listeners don't know much about the industry. Like I did a show with Paris Hilton. I did Paris Hilton, My New BFF, season 1 and season 2, and I spent a lot of time with Paris. And I found myself one time up there at her house making blue cheese burgers for her and a few other friends, and she loved them. She had 2 of them. So I mean, just crazy, like what you find yourself in.
I mean, I remember when not long after I'd moved here, I got a job directing on The Voice. And I was quite excited because it was kind of huge, big network TV show and all that. And I was going to be the director. And it was all very Hollywood for someone having come from England and kind of much smaller stuff. And I went up to introduce myself to one of the hosts, Christina Aguilera. And she was like kind of sitting in the chair getting her kind of last checks done on makeup and that sort of thing. And I was like, "Hi, I'm Rupert. I'm going to be your director this season. Lovely to meet you." And she just like looked at me and I kind of stared for a little bit and then just looked off to the side and went, "I need a fucking Diet Coke now." And I just sort of like, anyway,
all right.
Nice to be working with you. That was my introduction to kind of celebrity television. Yeah, it's not got much better since, really.
Well, I've worked with quite a few. I was pretty starstruck by working with Robert De Niro on a film, and I was on there. We had him for about a week, and I was filming like this, and it was a very intimate scene. Not intimate as in like 2 guys kind of talking about some deal or whatever, some gangster movie or whatever. And I was with a camera like this, and I was like. That's Robert De Niro, and I was like framing like this, and oh shit, I got to get it right. And then it was like that was really, I was really starstruck by that. But I mean, I worked with obviously Jeremy, James, and Richard. They were pretty interesting and cool in some ways. They were very fucking funny. I mean, they were hilarious. But I suppose going back to TG, sorry, those three.
You came across a lot of different
really
well-known people that came on Top Gear.
Yeah, but Tanner, Adam, and Rutledge. Rutledge is fucking hilarious. He's
Isn't
just
he?
the funniest guy I've ever met.
Yeah, he's so quick-witted.
Yeah.
Do you remember when I shut him up in? Do you remember when I shut him up in Iceland? He like lost his temper sitting in the car because it was like another 20-hour day, and he was like screaming at me through the windscreen, and it was like -20 outside, and I'm standing there and I'm trying to get all the cars lined up to use the headlights to light the kind of last scene of the day. And we're somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and he's like, "No, screw me." I'm like, "Say that again." And he's like, "Sorry." He tried to hide.
Oh.
So, I was like, right on the edge.
I mean, you couldn't get that away. You couldn't get away with that with the UK presenters.
No.
I mean, this was quite tight with them. I mean, it was more formal, informal with them. It was great. But I don't actually remember working with any wankers really.
Yes.
A few. but Then all right, Rup, then throw at me, what was your least favorite episode of Top Gear?
I don't know if there's a specific. I think it's kind of whenever the budget was running out, we ended up having to do really like crappy sort of
stuff,
challenges that were usually shot in a car park somewhere and involved traffic cones being kind of put as a driving course for them to go around, and it just felt cheap and tawdry and uninspiring. And that happened quite a lot towards the end of the series, as we'd spent all the money on the kind of fun stuff, and it was like, all right, we've got to do a couple of episodes where it's literally like they get a couple of kind of beater cars and drive around and smash them into a few things, and the guy still made it funny, but visually as a director, like watching cars go around some car park in an industrial area
kind of
boring. Los Angeles somewhere, it's kind of boring. Yeah Those are the ones I never really liked.
Today on Views
I was
from the
lucky
Tub.
because I was lucky because I think most of each episode's kind of broken up into sort of like what we call three headers. It was either a journey, which was a whole episode, and that would be we'd go off and do one kind of big sort of long thing like the Iceland trip or Death Valley. And it was a kind of bigger mission to get done. Always broke up into separate films, and there'd be what was called a three header. And those tended to be kind of a little less budget. And it would be kind of comparing and contrasting three cars and different challenges and stuff like that. Some of those good and fun, some of them a little cheap and not so good. But the ones I always enjoyed the most, I think, were the action films, or what we call the power test. And that was usually like Tanner doing some kind of crazy race against some other machine or person, or it would just be a kind of test driving a new fast car somewhere, and we'd go to an amazing location with beautiful roads and try and do that kind of Top Gear visual style and all that. So I was lucky in that I did a lot of those, I think more than the three headers over the years. I think I was sort of moaned if I was being on the schedule, was like, oh, you're going to do this thing with three beaters and it's going to be a car park in Long Beach or something. I'm like, ooh. No, I'd rather be
Gary's like, thanks for
rally cars against Aston Martins against jet boats along the Snake River in Idaho or whatever is kind of more my.
Oh, that was a good show.
Oh, that was a classic.
That was a fun one.
We got to mention. We got to mention the guy in the canoe.
The canoe.
Oh my gosh! Okay, so we're down in Lewiston, Idaho, and we're doing the episode of Jet Boat versus Aston Martin, and it's a great shoot. And we're working with this guy with a jet boat, and we're working with some local law enforcement that have jet boats out on the water. And after we're done with the shoot, they asked us if we wanted to go upriver with some beer and some guns and go shoot them off. And we're like, yeah, let's do it. So I don't know how many, 10 of us. We had two river boats, probably 10, 12 of us. Yeah. We go upriver with beer and we go out and we start shooting off these AR-15s across the river. Remember? And everyone's taking shots. We have photos of those. We have to. And then we all get in the boats, and then we go farther upriver just around this bend, and there's a dude in a homemade raft that's sitting there rowing in place because he hears us popping off shots, and you're just like, oh my gosh, this poor dude. Like,
he'd be there for an hour.
He's like, can I come out now?
We kind of go up the river, and he's there going like this on the river because he's like trying to keep himself up the river. He's been there for an hour like that. We're like, hey, dude, how are you doing?
That poor dude. And then on the way back, God. I was in one of the boats, and the guy, I think he was the one, he's a gunsmith. And on the way back, he's like, here, Donnie, go ahead and have a seat. And he got out of the seat, and I was like, what? So I sat down and grabbed the handles, and I'm like, I should not be driving this boat right now. And that's when you have to dodge rocks, and oh man, I felt so uncomfortable, but it was fun.
It was always fun.
Yeah. All right. So favorite.
We let the sheriff have a drive in the Aston Martin. I think that's why we got the invite to go up river. He was so excited about it. He was a big car nut, and he got to drive a V12 Vantage.
Had we only done that with Sergeant Stinson, if we'd only done that with Sergeant Stinson, right?
Do you think we're still banned from Detroit?
I don't know what else you.
No, we're not banned from Detroit because remember we went back and Sylvie smoothed everything over with Sergeant Stinson.
Yeah,
and that's when we did the Stingray episode.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I remember her face when she saw me. She was like, "You again?" Like, hi. You gonna lie to me again? You gonna lie?
Are they gonna go fast? No. Action. I thought you said they weren't gonna go fast. Oh, that was awesome. Oh,
I mean, overall, we have to thank our sort of friends in the law enforcement community over the years for what they allowed us to do on roads and stuff. It was fantastic. The show wouldn't be possible without them. They were.
No, that's true.
That was one of the favorite parts about working around the U.S. is working with all the local law enforcement agencies and how much they would work with us and what fans of Top Gear they were. And, we got a lot of good props from them as well about how professional, we are when we're doing those.
Except when we did the 7 Mile Bridge in Florida. This was season 1 before you came on. And I had to try and line up a shot with it was a Lotus racing an airplane and a speedboat, sort of cigarette style boat, along the 7 Mile Bridge going down towards Key West. And Adam was in the Lotus, and we shut down the bridge and everything and all that, and had the local kind of state troopers and everything were there shutting it down, and huge lines of traffic, people getting pissed off. Anyway, we got to the end of the shoot and we're heading down to Key West. Adam's in the Lotus, drives off. About a mile down the road, one of the cops that had been blocking the bridge for us pulled him over for speeding and gave him a ticket. And he's like, what? Can I? Nope. He was only about 10 miles over the limit as well. So not every cop liked us, but
brilliant. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I always love those questions like I'd always ask how fast we can go. And then they look like, well, how fast do you want to go? Well, and usually like, yeah, okay, as long as we have it locked down and we didn't have any bogeys coming out. So
I think what was
that
the Corvette over the bridge in Long Beach, the Vincent Thomas Bridge, where the cops were having bets on how fast Tanner could get it, what speed he could get it. I think he got up to like 140 or something over the bridge.
$150.
$150. And that was the coolest helicopter shot I ever did. It's like flying alongside that with the Triumph Speed Triple or whatever, racing against the ZL7.
Helicopter pilot Aaron Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald, the legendary Aaron Fitzgerald, will be on the show at some point. He's going to be coming on, guys.
He's now Red Bull aerobatics guy.
Yep.
It was amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
Drones kind of killed that job for him, didn't it?
Yeah. But I think he's doing well. I think he transitioned well.
I think he's doing very well.
Yeah.
Using his skills very well. He's
doing fun stuff.
Remind me, guys, did he fly under a crane? Didn't he do something in the...
Yeah, on Long Beach, on the docks, flew in under the cranes. He was epic.
There was a great picture there as well. Sylvie Adam took a good picture of that. Should put that up as well.
So Rup, then favorite. Give me your favorite Top Gear episode.
Probably Iceland. I think just for the epic landscapes. It was kind of, and they've got a brilliant rule in Iceland, which is like in winter when there's snow, you can drive anywhere. There's none of this kind of like control over, because you're not doing any damage to the ground, and they got some. So we could kind of go anywhere. With those amazing trucks and just the locals and their kind of abilities with vehicles and trying to drive in deep snow and stuff was a whole new sort of skill set that none of us had really kind of done, but we learned from them and how to press the tires properly and all that. But it just, I think Iceland itself was just this kind of epic landscape, and it was a great story. And
And just so everyone knows, whenever the hosts get tired, they have to throw someone in the vehicles to keep driving those vehicles. So we were always lucky enough to get thrown in those vehicles. So we drove those Icelandic vehicles a long way on snow and ice. And there were some sketchy
I got the Scout.
Oh, I was in the Bronco.
Yeah, I was in the K5, which just slid everywhere. It had no tire tread. It was horrible. You spent the whole time kind of locking against the slides, going up and down. But the best one was when we put Greg, who was our kind of specialist camera, put all the in-car cameras. We put him in a Scout, and he immediately lost it and spun off the road. And he's like, and he got out the car and says, "I'm from Florida. What do I know?"
That's right.
Oh, the big Bronco when we were in the tracking car, and I was sat in the back like a little dog in my hole, and I was there with the camera, and then I think Adam came to drive it, and he went to stop, and it didn't, and it was just this big Bronco grill coming towards us, and I'm in the back going, Rupert, drive, Rupert, drive, Rupert, Rupert, drive, and this Bronco's just going like, oh.
Just to clarify, I always drove the tracking vehicle with like Dan stuck in the back. That's how we did all our tracking shots. If I try that now on another show, they're like, "Well, who's going to be your precision driver?" I'm like, "I'll do it," and they're like, "What?"
Yeah, and who's going to look at the monitor?
Yeah, I know.
So, I would do both. I'd have a monitor suction cup to the windscreen so I could see where the car was, and for me, that was the quickest way to kind of get it done, and I could work with the driver and all that. But most people found that a little sketchy, but
unnerving.
Unnerving. And Rupert does not like being driven around. He does not like being driven around.
No, it doesn't. But it would be coming around the corner yeah. Exactly. I was just going to say, I'd be going like this, and I've got the shot, and he's got it so sideways that I've got no more car to film. I'm filming the inside of the Suburban with the camera.
So for those listeners that want to know, I think if you press the traction control and the DSC button both together for about 10 seconds, it turns off all kind of nanny state controls on ABS and traction control, so you can actually, it can slide around. You got more of a rally car kind of feel. So I mean,
yeah, we looked more like ferrets on a steering wheel.
Yeah. I think we actually got at one point Enterprise banned us from having any more cars because they'd come back in such a state. Because as soon as you open the back, all the dust comes flying in, and
collision damage waiver.
Collision damage waiver.
CDW, baby. CDW. I think I've returned so many. We love Enterprise, by the way. We love Enterprise.
Yeah, we love Enterprise. But I think what they got pissed off about is that we just used to get there with all knackered and looking like shit and shit everywhere, and then just go with the keys like that. Yeah, damage waiver done. Bye. Yeah. Throw the key. We used to throw the keys at them.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. All right, Dan, then what about you? What's your least favorite Top Gear episode?
I've been thinking about this whilst talking about that, and I think that my least favorite Top Gear, very clearly, when we were doing Top Gear when it wasn't Adam Tanner and Rutledge and Rupert and all that, when it changed the presenters. Mm-hmm. It was just shit.
Oh yeah, I did a couple episodes.
It was.
I remember my least favorite one.
I didn't like it.
When we were in Salt Lake City and Tanner nearly killed me.
Oh gosh!
That
pickup shot for taxi cabs. Yep.
Yeah, and he knocked my head off.
Beamer.
So
we all thought that when we looked at it from the top, we all thought that your head had come off. But it wasn't your head. It was just the weights. The weights from the back of this thing just flew off, and it just looked like it just shot fucking Rupert's head off.
I mean, just so people understand, I was operating a jib, sort of small camera crane, probably 15 feet long, and I was trying to move it on the inside. So Tanner was sliding in an M5, and I was kind of going on an outwards curve. And I was trying to follow with the camera nice and low to the wheels. But as he came around, I think that his drift, kind of the wheels caught and it changed direction slightly. So it caught the camera and the full weight of the car kind of hit it, pushing it back. And on the back of the jib are kind of like 5 kilogram to 10 pound weights, and about 4 or 5 of them to help kind of balance it. And it hit it hard enough that they flew. So it pushed it straight at my head. So I kind of flipped backwards and the weights went over my head, just missing me. And I little sort of backflip, smashed my head on the concrete on a multi-story car park. But the best bit was people were in offices above, they were filming it like on their phones and stuff. And it turned up on YouTube, like literally instantly. Like Top Gear cameraman loses his head. And I think we got to like 1 million views within like kind of about 12 hours. And which didn't go down very well with the BBC, who obviously love to keep things looking safe and under control.
I think we got a call from the BBC on that one, yeah.
Yeah, I had to do an accident report.
You did.
ER gave me some really good painkillers, so I kind of enjoyed the night's drinking. They were like, no drinking. I'm like, no, straight to the bar in the hotel to carry it and join up with everybody else.
I mean, but I will say we were pretty safe. For the most part, we were pretty safe.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
that
were.
was one of very few incidents we ever had.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. All right, least favorite. What about your favorite, Dan?
Oh, that's not really fair.
There's so many. I know.
Because I know that my favorite ones are normally the ones that I get to drive a car.
Me too.
Like
Me too.
when I drove the McLaren for about 5 hours, and we were all driving the Viper, the McLaren, and I can't remember the other one.
It's a Lamborghini.
And I was in the McLaren, a Lamborghini. Yeah.
What episode
and I was
was
in
this?
The McLaren, and I was
cross country,
the 3 sports cars,
coast to coast,
cross country,
coast
to coast.
Yeah, from New York to LA.
I kind of cheat. Yeah, we kind of cheated a bit, didn't we? And we drove the.
No.
I drove the. No, sorry.
No.
I was too far gone, man. It was like years ago.
No.
We basically had to do. We did it in 2 legs. We did it in 2 legs. We had to kind of come back and do a second.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, my favourite ones are the ones where I get to drive the cars. But
that's when it was my birthday.
Rupert used to let me drive more. Yeah.
You were in the McLaren. I think I was in the Lamborghini, and the Nevada State Patrol guys with us, Highway Patrol, gave us
are you shitting
we went
me?
in combo with them.
Hold on.
Blue lights going.
Hold on. Jesus, fucking Jesus.
GFD is a BFD.
It was the best ever.
And we are rolling
and we
in
are
5.
Back. And we're back. Where were we? We were talking about your favorite.
We were driving down the
Rupert's
I-7. Is it the I-70 that goes through Vegas? What was it? The 15. The 15. Dan was in a McLaren. I was in a Lamborghini. We had State Patrol giving us a blue light escort to get us back to the hotel so we could go and start partying for my birthday. And I think we did like 100 miles an hour, weaving in and out of traffic all the way to whichever crappy hotel they'd thrown us into. But that was an epic birthday present. Thank you, Nevada State Patrol.
That's so funny. That reminds me, we were filming. Gary was on the. It was Gary's episode. Gary Schaefer, the hair, and it was his birthday, and we were down filming down by Big Sur, down at is it Bixby Bridge?
Yeah.
Right, and we were done, and he had to get back to the airport, San Jose Airport, and then fly out for his birthday party that night. And so we had our lovely CHP with us, and let him know that we had to get back, quick. And he's like, just follow me. He's like, stay on my tail. And so we rolled with, I think, 3 Suburbans, and then he was leading us. So clearly people were like, what the hell's going on here? And then we got up to
some government shit going on.
Yeah, up to Gilroy area, and then he split off, and we had to make our way the rest of the way. And we got Gary to the airport so we can make it his flight for his birthday. So, love our officers. Love our officers.
Yeah.
We did used to look like government people with it especially when they gave us all the same Suburbans with the same color.
Until we got out.
When we until we got out there, who are these jackals? Yeah. When we were at Fort Campbell with the 101st, and the Night Stalkers are also there, and I guess they called the PAO or someone and asked why the CIA was on base, because they usually will let them know when they're training there. And he's like, no, that's just Top Gear. That's a crew of Top Gear coming. So
it's a bunch of jackalopes.
Just a bunch of jackals. Hey, Rup, what do you think do you remember your first time on camera or behind camera on set working? And what was it like?
Whatever.
First day on set. Yeah, I love hearing your first day on set stories, if you can remember. It was memorable. If not, then it wasn't memorable.
While you think about it, I've got one.
Yeah, go.
I was doing video journalist type stuff for that show Men and Motors, and we used to use the little VJs, the little cameras, mini disc ones, and then I got promoted to use big cameras in the studio, and I got to the studio to shadow someone who wasn't there, and they said, "Oh, you know, you get on the camera and just listen to what the director's saying." I'm like, "What?" So I'm like 20, right? And I get on the studio ped, and I'm like this, and I'm like, and I put the headphones on. I could hear my heart beating on the headphones, and he says, "Right." Right, zoom into the lady, whatever her name was, right, and it was a mid shot like I've got now, right. It says zoom into the lady, and that would mean that you would kind of do a little creep because there's like a emotional scene, so you do like a little zoom, and I crash zoomed into her eye, right, focused, and crash zoomed out.
Oh my gosh!
Live on television on my first live on television on my first day, and the director was in my, fuck. What the fuck was that? What the fuck are you doing? And someone said, no, it's the new guy. It's the new guy. It's Dan is the new guy. Who the fuck is Dan? Who put up on a fucking camera? No, it's because Tim is ill. No, Tim is ill. What the? And you put who the fuck? And then all this conversation about me, and I'm like, what did I do? I just, oh my god.
So what you're saying is, don't feel bad if you F up on your first day on set. It's all good, guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. F up as much as you can until you're 25.
I think my first shoots, because I've been like a kind of PA on a couple of things, and then my first kind of promotion as I was called a researcher. I was doing this kind of quite big paranormal show in England called Strange But True, and I went out with the director and we were interviewing somebody about something or other up in the north of England, and I was quite excited because I was the one that was going to get to ask the questions. I think I was like 23 or 24, and it was like, felt like the big time. And I got there and they set up an interview, and there was this sort of beautiful rolling hills in the north of England, and someone's standing there and everything, but there was all these sheep wandering around in the background, and the director was quite particular about stuff. He didn't want the sheep in the shot, so I'm like, okay. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? He says, go and fucking chase them off. So instead of asking questions, I was basically just situated just off frame, and every now and then had to kind of run in going, ah, chasing sheep across the field until they disappeared. But then they just wander back again slowly. So like for 2 hours while this interview went on, every time a sheep wandered in, he'd be like, fucking sheep in shot. And I'd have to run out again, chase the sheep off, come back. And it was just this ebb and flow of me and sheep. And that was I've made it. I've made it into the glamour of television.
You clearly don't know how to herd animals like me. Because man, I was a champ when we were.
These are English sheep, Donny. They're different.
Oh,
they're not as easy to deal with.
Yeah. Where the men are men and the sheep are nervous.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we tried to scare the goats?
Oh yeah.
Goats you scared?
The fainting goats in Colorado.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Didn't they put those in the back of their cars and they shit?
They wouldn't faint. So we were trying to scare them by shouting
until I run in with an umbrella and just opened it up. I opened it up as soon as I got to them, and they fucking all fell onto the floor.
Oh man!
No animals are harmed in the production.
No,
of course not. No. Never, ever. So what do you think you would have ended up doing if you didn't become a director, Rup?
Military.
Probably. Or a tree surgeon. For some reason I always had a yearning to climb trees professionally. But
I'm sorry, what?
I think we all did when we were 10.
Yeah, I know. I never really got out of it. I think when I was 10, I think I want to be a tree surgeon or a fighter pilot. None of those things happened. I mean, I'm probably a journalist. I wanted to be a foreign correspondent for a while and sort of be running around in a war zone with an old Nikon F5 or something, snapping amazing photos of terrible things happening.
Without a gun.
But ended up without a gun, yeah, shooting with a camera. So probably that, I guess. But somewhere in that sort of world.
Daniel?
I probably would have been dead.
or a prison bitch.
Are you dead? I don't know. I really don't know. It wouldn't have been anything normal. It wouldn't have been an office job. It wouldn't have been anything, and I don't know where I would have been. I really seriously ask this question to myself every now and again when the stars align. But I don't know. I really don't know. It probably would have been something like a builder or something to do with like carpentry or something to do with art or something like that. I don't know. I've no.
Got it. Very bohemian of you.
I would have been something that was just like I would have been quite lost, I think, if it wasn't for TV.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad I fell into this industry. Oh my gosh, I can imagine driving freight trains still.
Yes,
and that's another story for you guys at another time. What do you think what do you got coming up next, Dan? What's going on with you next?
Well,
I mean, that's one of those questions. That was a curveball. Wow. I was like, oh,
yeah, you've
shit.
I've got a long job. It's like 9 weeks long, and it's split into 3 weeks, 3, and it's in South Korea, and we are taking a young boy band from England to South Korea to do K-pop for them to become K-pop a K-pop band. Now, if you don't know what K-pop is, look it up. And it's great. It's really great. It's fucking elaborate. It's going to be a culture shock for the boy band, but it's going to be a great show. I'm working with some good friends, so
that's awesome.
It's going to be good.
Some good food over the too. Anything you want to promote? Anything you want the listeners to catch that you've done recently?
Yes. I did Limitless with Chris Hemsworth, which was
very cool. Wow.
Which I really, really, really enjoyed, and it was a great crew. And Chris Hemsworth is a dude. He's a really nice guy, genuinely nice guy. His brothers too, as well. They're all a wonderful trio, and I really enjoyed working with that in that great crew as well. It was similar to the Top Gear UK crew. So it was a wonderful shoot. So yeah, watch that, please. That's one of the
very cool.
highest.
We will. Yeah, we'll throw that up. Make sure everyone watches that. What about you, Rup? Absolutely. What do you got going on next?
I got a couple of things coming up. I'm after filming some stuff about aliens in Roswell, New Mexico, for Discovery, and then I'm got some more episodes. I direct all the recreation stuff for America's Most Wanted on Fox, so we've got some more episodes of that coming up, and then another crime series as well. I'm director of photography on for Amazon coming up in March. So a few little things. It's been a quiet start to the year, but now things starting to pick up slowly, which is good. It's not been a great year for anybody last year.
It's going to pick up. 2024 is going to be the year for us.
It's going to be the year.
It's all going to happen.
Can I come and work with you again?
No.
Going to have to get that O1 visa.
No. Did you hear that, Donny?
Yeah.
He said no.
And scene.
Nope.
Anything you did other than America's Most Wanted recently you want to throw out there for our viewers to watch?
Car related. I directed. There was a series on Hulu called Drive with Swizz Beatz, which was kind of looking at global car culture and sort of different car communities around the US and the world. But we had a great time. We went to Tokyo and did drifting up in the mountains up there, which is fantastic, and a bucket list kind of car thing to go and do.
Very cool.
We also went out to Saudi Arabia and filmed out in the desert there with kind of the local off-roaders and stuff like that. And there's some really kind of cool car cultures around the States as well. We kind of went to Houston and Atlanta, New York, and stuff. So I filmed a whole bunch of different stuff. But that's available on Hulu now, which you can watch, which is cool. That's probably it recently. Not been that busy. Oh, you've frozen.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
I'm still here. Well, dude, hey, thanks for coming and getting a little chatter on channel 2, but we better get back to channel 3. We've got some work to do. Thanks, guys.
Production for Donny.
Go for Donny. Locations for Donny. Go for Donny.
Habitat for Donny.
Go for Donny. Hey Donny, what the hell are they doing?